Hi drawing students. So we're going to do a little more practice. We've been warming up with different lines and control, and we just want to go over some basics of lines turning into shapes, turning into forms, and I want you to copy this in your sketchbook as well. For some of you, I realize this is going to be review, and for others, maybe it's new information, but we're going to cover it just so everybody's on the same page. So over here on the left, I want you to just draw a little circle to move an item quick. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle, and you can totally not use this method that we've been practicing if you want to just put it in. Okay, so that circle's a little lumpy. I'm going to draw another one here. I'll switch it up. And another one here, 3 circles. Boom, just like that. So we're just going to set this page up, and then I'm going to have you draw a triangle, and then I'm going to have you draw a square, straight line, straight line, straight line, and let's see, a rectangle. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but we're going to start with these. So these lines create a shape, right? When you've got multiple lines in a curve. So this is flat, and these are shapes. They are flat, they are 2D. These guys over here, totally flat, 2D, nothing going on there, right? Okay, so when we add some additional lines, we can turn these shapes into forms, things that look three-dimensional. So if I add just a curve like this, a C through the middle of this, it starts to look a little more three-dimensional. And if I rotate it again and make another curve, I get a even more three-dimensional looking circle. So the ball starts to look even more rounded. So just by adding 2 curves to it, one here and one here, I made something that was flat look more 3D. So let's try that again. I'm going to make a slightly bigger circle here. All right, we've got that. And then I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit on this so you can see it better. I'm going to add a big curve across the sides that makes it look like it's got a stripe on it. Anything on a round surface has to have a curve to it, otherwise the object won't look round, right? And then I'm going to go this way as well. So it's got 2 curves. So the line that I created, this curve, has to kind of like come in from the side and connect to the bottom in a round way. Same thing here, this is going to wrap. And this is going to wrap. If I draw flat lines on my circle, so if this is my circle and I just draw 2 flat lines, my circle doesn't look 3D. This is looking a little more 3D. Now, if I wanted to take this further and make it even more rounded at the top, I could draw just another curve. So these are called cross contours. When you're adding additional like opposite lines. Now I'm making another line come in right here and around this way. So it's starting to look more three-dimensional. And the bottom of this is kind of confusing, so I'm going to make it a little more rounded. So these are cross contours. So this is flat, and this looks more 3D. So 3D forms are 3D forms, right? Flat is a shape. Shapes are totally flat. So if I want to take this circle, which is super sketchy, I'm going to try and clean it up a little bit for you. Take this circle. I'm going to put this C shape in it. Whoop, like that. Boom. And then... Boy, this is, I apologize. I'm going to try and keep this light and quick. There. Okay, so the lines are a little more clear. One big C shape through the middle, like that. And then I'm gonna rotate it and put another C shape through the middle like this. Boom. And again, if I wanted to add more cross contours to help you see and understand how round it is at the top, I'm gonna make this kind of oval shape. And then I'm gonna curve out of the sides and curve around, and I'm running kind of parallel to this one and this other line. So I'm going in between the two, parallel to this curve and this curve. And that really helps my object look more three-dimensional. So there we go. Okay, so we've got a circle. This is a shape turning into a form. This is a flat shape. And all of this starts from line. Okay, we're gonna come at this again, and we're gonna turn a triangle, this flat shape, into something that is more three-dimensional looking. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can, of course, make your flat triangle again and add just a second leg to it and turn it into a pyramid. So this is coming off to the right, and then I'm gonna connect it up here. I could do it from the other side as well, and my triangle could be skinnier, right? I could put another edge over here, and it's shorter. See how this is shorter than this? And then I connect it up here. So if I add lines on this side that run parallel to the bottom, see how it just helps it look a little more 3D? Same thing over here. So I'm putting another line on it to make it look parallel, or to create parallel lines running up the sides, helps it give it a little more dimension, so we can turn it into a form that way. You can also start with one vertical line and put two shorter little lines coming out like an arrow pointing up, and connect both bottom edges. So now you're looking at the corner of a pyramid. Or, of course, you can turn it into a cone. So you can start with this and just put a curve on the bottom, a nice cross contour. So, and I'm gonna draw those cross contour lines on here so you can see them. So if I mimic or stay parallel to that bottom line and draw these additional curves, oops, that one got a little weird. To the top, it looks like a cone. So you can practice that as well. A little loose and messy here, but you get the idea. The next example I have is a square. So a square turning into a cube. A lot of you probably learned this trick at some point in elementary school, but if you didn't, you will learn it now. So if you've got a square and you want to turn it into something three-dimensional, the trick is you put diagonal lines from the corners, and they all have to be parallel. So same distance apart, or equal distance apart, so they don't slant, and then you connect. So you've got a horizontal line here, a horizontal line here, and another one here. Just gonna stretch this out until it touches. And then I need another parallel line to this vertical. So vertical, vertical, and this line has to be perfectly vertical. Now if I add parallel vertical lines on this side, it'll start to look like it recedes a little bit more. I could also add parallel diagonal lines. Ooh, that works pretty well. So there's that. The other way you can do it is you can start with a vertical line and make a big broad V at the bottom like this, and then another parallel set of like a big broad V here, and then you can add more vertical lines. So vertical, vertical. Now it looks like an open book, and to finish it off you have to make parallel lines here. So 3 parallel diagonal lines. And then on the other side, you're doing the same thing. 3 parallel diagonal lines going the other way. So now I'm looking at the box from the corner in 2-point perspective, for those of you who know that. And if I want my box to go the other way, have the receding space on the other side if I want it to look three-dimensional over there. I'm going to shoot my diagonals off on the other side. So this corner, and this corner. So I need a vertical line that matches this one. So it's parallel and this one. And then I need a horizontal line that matches these two to finish it off. So those are those. That's the same, that's how you make a cube. All right, so we can make cube-like images also, starting with a rectangle. I mean, this could be anything. It could be a letter, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna show you this so it's a little different, right? You're running parallel diagonal lines from these three corners. And if they are different angles, this is gonna look kind of wonky. So you gotta think about that. If this one goes up like this, it might look kind of goofy. So make sure that you're starting with lines that are parallel, and you make them all at once, and you kind of think about it. Which way are they going? And then vertical lines to match the ones on the other side. Parallel horizontal lines, right? Now the last thing I want to show you with your shapes into forms is a cylinder. Cylinders come up a lot because so many man-made shapes are made this way. So the top has to be round, right? We will talk more about this shape later on, but this has to have rounded corners. This shape will look flat unless it has rounded corners. So that's something to keep in mind. These should always be rounded. And another trick is that whatever curve you have on the front of your cylinder here, you're gonna have the same curve on the bottom. So I often flip this upside down and draw that exact same curve here. Now, if we wanted to make it look like it's see-through or transparent glass, you could put it on both ends like this, but that's not always necessary, right? You can start with this curve and you can make lots of these. This flattened circle is called an ellipse. So basically what you're looking at is the top of something round, right? And you're seeing it in perspective. So you're seeing it flattened. So when you're looking down at it, it's a perfect circle. But when you're drawing it to look like it's receding or sitting in front of you in real life, it has to be a little thinner, and this shape is called an ellipse. So I'm going to draw the edges of this straight down, and then when I draw the bottom curve, I can't make it flat. It can't just be this, because that won't look right. You have to have it curved in the same amount as this one. So there you go. Those are all our basic shapes and forms that I wanted you to see and know how to draw. Please follow these tutorials and copy this in your sketchbook.